Continuing on here with the really far way out predictions for 2025, since we're now here in the later part of 2024. In this video, we're featuring the men's French Open. Yesterday, I posted the video on the women's French Open. Also last week, took a look at both the women's and men's Australian Open. So make sure you guys check out all of those videos. But the big thing here, guys, right, looking at this tournament so far out, it's very hard to make the predictions. We don't know who's going to be playing well at that time, who's going to be injured. We don't have that crystal ball to see May and June that far away. But for the fun of it, let's start with the really far away out predictions by talking about the people that are going to be in play here. Let's get started with the defending champion, Carlos Alcaraz. Alcaraz, you guys heard me say it numerous times, and you guys know it. The kid's a phenom. The kid's an absolute young stud, youngest player in tennis history to win major championships on the hard courts, on the clay courts, and on the grass courts. Absolutely. He's entering a tournament. He's to be right in the mix of things here. Is he the favorite in this year's French Open, though? That's kind of where the question comes in, and we'll get into more of that later on in the video, because there's several other players that are going to be at play here. Like, for example, the world number one Jannik Sinner, very talented no matter what surface he's on. And let's remember, guys, last year at Roland Garros, Sinner and Alcaraz went 5 sets. So obviously Sinner could be right in the mix, right in play here at this year's French Open. Also, let's not forget about Alexander Zverev, who challenged against Carlos Alcaraz last year in the French Open final. Came within a set of getting that one done, losing 5 sets to Alcaraz. Zverev, very good on the clay courts as well. Somebody who's been excelling the last few years on the clay courts. So look out for Zverev in this tournament as well. And guys, another real big name, you got to give credit where credit's due. This guy is a clay court specialist. And that's Casper Ruud. Ruud, time and time again, has done amazing things on clay. Lost 2 French Open championships. This year was a semifinalist at the French Open. Also during the year, lost a ATP 1000 event at Monte Carlo on clay, and then came back and won in Barcelona ATP 500 event. Ruud, very good on clay, should be in the mix here as well. Now, guys, here's where things for me get really interesting. And then I know you could also add, these are kind of like just the bigger names, right? I know you could throw a few other names on there, like Stefano Tsitsipas has had some success on clay throughout the years. You can make a case for him, or Andre Rublev had that big win at Madrid last year. Maybe you want to throw him in the mix as well, but I don't want to, you can make cases for so many players. I want to get super in the weeds here. Here's the one that is really interesting for me, and it's Novak Djokovic. Now, Djokovic has won 3 French Opens in his career. Obviously, you guys know, amazing tennis player, probably the greatest of all time. You want to get into the debate of that, we can do that at a different time, but you can't deny, being that this guy's won 24 major championships, he's arguably the best of all time. The only player in men's tennis history to win at least 3 of every single major championships. When you're looking at what is Djokovic's best case to win major championship number 25 and stand alone on top, surpassing Margaret Court, you can make the case, of course, for the Australian Open, right, where he has 10 major championships. You can make the case for Wimbledon, where he stands second all-time on that list. You can make the case for the U.S. Open, a tournament he's won several times. But guys, I know the French Open, he's won the least out of all those, but let's not forget, last year at the French Open, he made it to the quarterfinals. That's when he hurt his knee and he had to pull out. But I know it wasn't pretty then, but still, he didn't lose. He had to pull out with an injury. Then we saw him at the Olympic Games, and I know he didn't have the toughest draw, but still made it all the way to the finals and won the Olympic gold medal by beating Carlos Alcaraz. So when I'm looking at this, guys, I really think this, you can make the case that this year's 2025 French Open is the best chance and the best opportunity for Novak Djokovic to win major championship number 25. Now, we could get in the weeds of things, and we could debate which surface is better and get into draws when we have draws and whatnot. But just sitting here, I actually really do like Novak Djokovic a lot in this tournament. So I'm going with the feel-good story here. Novak Djokovic is my prediction to win next year's French Open. Now, I get all the pushback in the world. Again, these, remember, really far away out predictions. A lot of players in play here. Can easily go a million different directions here. But I'm going with the feel-good story here. Novak Djokovic wins major championship number 25 at next year's French Open.